Hey everybody, this is Grossmeister giving you a little studio update. Haven't done anything for a while. Um, just got some updates on my Persians that I've been working on, doing a little bit of rebasing, reconfiguring. Uh, More of my research into the Persian spare bar units led me to believe that I wasn't really having them in the right configuration. I had them originally based as a 1-for-1, and my research showed me they had many more archers than they did spearmen. So what I've done is I've changed up my configuration to one archer and then one archer. Again, I did that again. One spearman to 3 archers. Gives me a total of 40 guys in the unit. Front rank is all Sparabara, and then 3 ranks of archers behind them. And again, I think it gives me a better look, probably a better feel on the table about how they'll play, which is one of the things I find important is when you're playing a big battle game, especially like in Hail Caesar or any other type game, that your units need to behave the way they were intended on the tabletop for you to get the feel of the game itself. So that's why I decided to make this change. And I'm going to bring this unit up here so you can get a kind of a visual of what I've done. Right here I've got, you can kind of see the first rank of Sparabara with the big shields, and then the subsequent units, ranks of archers. And I've got 2 units like this made up. And I really like I think they're going to play well that way. It'll give you more of that feel, the look. And instead of having so many of those units like on the one for one, so then I'll have just 2 great big units of Sparabara. Then I'll be able to field a much more diverse looking army, which would really suit the flavor of the Persian army at that time. It was a large empire, and I think that it would be great to have a really diverse and colorful army on the table. Now, if you've ever done any reading or seen any pictures, especially of the Persian army, they have very colorful uniforms, a lot of stripes and designs, and polka dots and starbursts on their uniforms and stuff. For me to make that look, I don't think I'm quite there yet on my skill to get all that in. So I painted them in very solid colors. Hopefully, when I get better brush control, tip, control on the brushes, because at 28 millimeter, I would find some of those designs they're outside my personal skill set at this point in time. Hopefully in the future I'll be able to get there, but right now I know that they're not. And right now I've got another unit I'm working on. It's a kind of a standard size unit of just kind of levy infantry for them. And hopefully you can see those. Yeah, that's how I normally have my stuff based, is just in the 2-rank infantry like that for Hail Caesar. That's basically what I've been doing there. When I was doing this, I was thinking about the way I mount the units on the movement tray. And I do it a little bit differently. I like to use magnets on my models. And I'm not sure you're going to be able to see this because right here, if you can see right on the bottom there, there's a magnet. It's a very small magnet. It's a rare earth magnet, and you can see by that profile, it's very thin, thinner than the base is itself. It's a 1/16 by 5/32, and I get them from a place called K&J Magnetics. I feel like they're reasonably priced for what they do. And so what I do is I'll go to my hardware store and I will get not a ton, literally, but a couple of pounds of these little washers, about 1 inch in diameter. And what I do then is I will glue those to the movement tray, and then with the magnet on the model itself, gives it a great holding power. They're very powerful little magnets. So you can see here, be on my right, the 2 washers on movement base, and they hold the models really well. Those magnets are great. You can see that. And I started looking for ways to do this when I was transporting a lot of armies. I had the Army transport styrofoam stuff, and that was always problematic because every time you put stuff in, especially stuff with like long spears or pikes, always wound up eventually breaking something. Back when I played a lot of fantasy, when I played Chaos and stuff like that, and Games Workshop, Warhammer fantasy battles, I was always breaking stuff off of them. So I decided to go with magnets on my models. And then what I do, now this movement base isn't done, but on the bottom I'll place magnets down in here because they're so thin. And then in my carrying case, I'll put washers down, and they'll just magnetize right to the washers and hold them steady. So I rarely have problems with my stuff coming off the bases and everything, though that seems to be no problem. You can't. I wouldn't send them through the airport that way, but as far as local transport, I've not had any problems with that. Matter of fact, sometimes I'll put washers even up the sides on the inside of the transport case, and I'll be able to click them right to the side on the inside. Never had much of a problem. You just have to make sure that you use the right kind of magnet for it. But usually these rare earth magnets are so powerful. The one model, especially if it's plastic, it's not going to come off of it. I wouldn't think. It'd take a lot of jostling for them to come out. That's about where I'm at on my army. I still got several units for my Persians to put together. More Greek infantry. That's going to be a sticking point because I don't know how I want to base them in unit sizes and that sort of thing. I've got one unit of 40, but I'm contemplating cutting it in 2, but maybe not. I don't know. They've yet to, I had them on the tabletop one time, but they did okay. I mean, for what they're for. And I think I'll add another unit of the Greek hoplite mercenary infantry to it. But whether I make it into 4 units of 20, 2 units of 40, I don't know. If anybody's ever had this problem, if you've played Hail Caesar and you've used the Greeks, how do you do it? And again, my base idea or my philosophy in this is that my units on the table need to look and kind of behave the way their historical counterpart did. And if it's a highly maneuverable army, say like my Caesarean Romans in small cohorts, able to respond and move and do different things, then they need to be in those smaller units, basically in their triplex aces formation. I got a video up on that on my channel if you want to check that out. And but the Greeks, though, they normally had them in very large linear formations, usually anywhere from 4 to 8 guys deep. Well, what changed was tactically for them was if you wanted to make them deeper, even more of a weighted punch, because basically when it was hoplite on hoplite, it became almost like a push between and a more powerful, usually one out. So I'm thinking of sticking with the 40-man unit, but I'm not sure I'm kind of married to it. You know what I mean? If I can find some other reason maybe to do them differently, but I don't want to do them in a way that makes them seem too maneuverable for what they are and the way they performed really on the battlefield. They need to be a little bit more cumbersome than, say, a Roman cohort, or even for that matter, a later like an Alexander the Great period type pike unit. We'll see. But that's going to be the next addition to my Persians. Going on from there, I've talked about the painting and all that, but basically it's still a lot of work, still a work in progress, because the Persian army is very vast and diverse and can have a lot of different characteristics in it because the empire was so large. So there may be some other options coming down the line that I might put into it. Maybe even some Indian allied infantry. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But I made a lot of purchases this past weekend. When a bunch of my buddies and we went to a gaming store. And a little background, this were first store I'd really been to that had a diverse line of products. Been going there for, I got 10, 12 years, it seems like. No, I'd say not 10, maybe 10 years. And there for a while, it seemed like it was on a downturn. But about a week ago, my buddies and we went over, and they had rearranged the store. They had new products in. There were people in there. It was very energetic. It was great. We went to the Bookery in Fairborn, Ohio. I loved it. I mean, it was nice. The guys there are great. And it was so fun because we were upstairs making our purchases, but you could hear the gaming energy. And, like the young guys are loud and boisterous when they're playing, but it was nice to hear that kind of energy in the store. So I made a bunch of purchases, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. So my first purchase came in the mail the other day, though. I got online, and my first one is the new Saga rulebooks. I haven't played this game yet. Matter of fact, I haven't even read this book yet, and I can't wait to. I like the idea of the Dark Ages. I like the idea of the mechanics of the game that I've read. I read the first rule book. I really like the mechanics. And also, I got the Age of Vikings. It's still in the plastic. I haven't even torn it open yet. And from my understanding, that these, on the back here, as you can see that, this is the book part. But here are the new battle boards for the new units. I can't wait to break that open. And I really, really am going to try to get... I've got a whole bunch of Dark Age warriors from Gripping Beast, a lot of their character models and stuff, and I really need to get those together, get them painted, and start, if nothing else, bribing people to play me in Saga. And what else came, which was a surprise, because I had forgotten I'd ordered this. This was one I've been looking to get. It's Black Powder's Glory Hallelujah. It's the American Civil War version of Black Powder. Can't wait to get involved in that. I've always wanted to do like an American Civil War. I'm more of a... When it comes to Civil Wars, believe it or not, I'm really more interested in like the English Civil War, the War of the Roses, and that sort of stuff. That has really that has been of interest to mine since I was young. But this, I guess the grass seems greener on the other side, because I've always been exposed to the American Civil War. But now I decided to get this book since I've played Hail Caesar. And I've got some of the base black powder book. I've read through it. I think I might get this a go. I think it'd be easier to find some guys to venture into this one. A lot of interest in the American Civil War. Okay, what else did I get? Oh, yes. Something else I was looking forward to getting. I'm a terrain erratic. I am a fanatic about terrain and buying stuff. I got whole shelves full of stuff. And I just kept seeing this bridge here. I go through. I've seen it online. And so I just finally, and it was at the store and stuff I'd never seen at the store before, which was great. I mean, like I said, they had new products and this was there. I had never seen it before. They've got new games there that I had never seen them carry before. It's really great. I mean, they really have stepped up their game. And so I purchased that. And besides, it's a stone bridge. Stone bridges, you can use them about for anything. So that's ubiquitous. You can have it anywhere. And again, so not, gosh, I spent way too much money. But another purchase, something I've been looking at for a long time. Is this. I've seen it online. Oops. Look at that. I've seen it online several times. And I always thought it was a cool piece. And this is kind of what it looks like when it's together. From Pegasus Hobbies. It's still in the plastic. I had it a week and it's still in the plastic. Can't wait to get started on that. So my problem is, one is good. Is two really better? I don't know. We'll have to see. Because I went and purchased this one too. The one that's all together. So I don't know if there's some way I can, assemble them all together, make it one huge piece, or I might even make some scaffolding or some interior for the one that's open. So we can do some skirmish type battles in there. But I got a little carried away with the purchase. So, but that happens with me when I go to the store. The energy was good. It was almost like, because the energy was so good, I spent more money. I wonder if that's a business thing. It must be, because I've been over there before and I come out with a pot of paint and a brush or something, and then this time I got really carried away. So, but yeah, it was fun to go over and see what was happening and stuff. Hopefully I can get over there and get some games in, because I'm sure that they're playing 40K and some stuff. But our group's probably mostly been involved in Shadow War Armageddon right now, and that's been fun. But it's led me into thinking about a topic, and I'm going to do a video on this once I think about it a little bit more and put it together, about that, the separation of skirmish and big battle games. That it seems like in most systems they're putting stuff to where it's either you're playing either this or that. And it seems a little puzzling to me, because throughout history, the small raid and operation was all connected to some larger strategy. So to separate them out seems, I don't know, just it seems like we're missing part of the game, part of the activity, the hobby, is if we separate the skirmish out and have specific rules for skirmish, and then separate the big battle games out and have only specific rules for the big games. I know it seems like we're dividing into camps, and I would like to promote a much more holistic approach. And I don't know, I'm going to have to give it some more thought. It seems like there's a trend of separation, even like when you're doing campaigns. I don't want to get into it too deep now, but that's kind of the direction a future video is going to go. I'm going to ask these questions, and I'd really sincerely like to have a discussion about this. That there's just so much that I think that we're missing by not making them part of each other more, as opposed to two separate gaming systems. I think, well, I don't want to get into it. I'm going to babble on for that one for a while, I think. I did get one other thing in the mail, and I got some bases from Litco Graphics. I do like those. They're round, not round movement trays, but the movement trays have round slots in them for my 25 millimeter rounds. And I'm beginning to really like the 20 and 25 millimeter rounds, just because you can twist the guys around and get them to fit. On the squares, you got to be so careful when you're putting them down to make sure that they all match up, and so you don't have guys bumping each other. I played in game systems where the models were so dynamic, but yet we're supposed to be ranked up, and that was very difficult to do. Very difficult. And it was like a puzzle. You have to put the right, this guy's third guy from the right, and that was always aggravating, especially in model removal systems when you're taking each model off, and then you go to pack up your stuff, especially if you're like in a tournament and you got to pack it up real quick and move to the next table or stuff like that was just such a pain. It would have worked so much better on a 25 millimeter round as opposed to a square. Okay, that seems to be about it. I've talked about everything that I was kind of on my mind. Wanted to show you what I got, and it'd be interesting. I think with the terrain that I got, you put the right icon. I'm going to mess that word up. I always do. Iconography, big word, on it, and I think you can use those Gothic buildings in just about anything. If you want to use them for 40K, you put some 40K stuff on them. You want to use some sort of historical European sort of thing, you could do that. You just, whatever you want to use it for. As long as you just make it where it's removable. Magnets, again, I'll probably magnetize some sort of thing on the out. If I want to use it for a shadow or something, then I'll put some sort of emperor's insignia on it or something, and then if I want to use it in historical, take it off and make some sort of gargoyle thing sitting up there on it or something. I don't know. That'll be easy enough to do. Anybody got any questions about the Persians? Any ideas about how to do the Greeks? I would love to hear from you. I do believe the big phalanx is probably the way to go, just because I just don't think that I want them that maneuverable. But we'll see. I might trot them out in a game and try them both ways, because I got 40 guys, so I could put make them 2 small units, 4 by 5 or 5 by 4, and make them small units and try them out that way. But we'll see. But that's it for the channel update. Everybody have a good weekend, and I'll see you next weekend.